Good morning and welcome to Razeb Africa Show of Razeb Media on Global TV. I am Wime Anetia. Very glad to have you join us this morning as we take you around Africa, the continent where we all hail. And of course, maybe if you're not in the continent, we will surely make you to know what is happening around Africa. We are always here every morning, Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. to 11:55 a.m. Of course, that is because we want to take you around and tell you what's happening in Africa. But most importantly, we always will return to Nigeria, where we base, of course, because we are in the city of Abuja. It is a very wonderful, calm morning here, and so I welcome you to today's edition of the program. It is a Tuesday morning, and we welcome you. Of course, today we'll take you into Nigeria. From there, we'll lead you on to some other African countries, and we'll tell you what is happening. Our major concern is the issue that surrounds Africa. Nigeria, as importantly, concerns security situation in our country. Do not forget that about 3 weeks ago, students were actually taken from the schools into a place where till today we are still looking out for them. Of course, these started many years ago, as far back as 2014, and that was before the 2015 elections, where we heard the first time of kidnapping of students. And till today we are having this situation happen. We are still thinking how these can come to an end. In other parts of Africa, we see deportees, we see a whole lot of African countries still battling, and we get to wonder if we all belong again to these our beautiful continent called Africa. But this morning, just before we go into some discussion segments, let us begin in Nigeria, where hundreds of women and children abducted by Boko Haram militants have regained their freedom after months in captivity. The victims, who were taken from Negoshe in Borno State earlier this year, were released over the weekend in what officials described as a major breakthrough against the insurgent group. While local leaders confirmed that all 416 captives had been freed, the Nigerian military said an intelligence-led operations rescued 360 victims after psychological tactics weakened the militant ranks. Authorities revealed that 2 infants died due to harsh conditions of captivity, as attention now turns to circumstances surrounding the release and continuing fighting against insurgency in the northeast. Now, still staying with security development on the continent, a military court in Democratic Republic of Congo has delivered its final judgment in the high-profile murder of 2 United Nations experts nearly 9 years after the killing shocked the international community. 54 defendants, including a Congolese army colonel, were sentenced to death over the 2017 murder of investigators Michael Sharp and Saida Catalan, who were killed while probing violence in the Kassia region. Although the victims' families welcomed the verdict, rights groups argue that justice remains incomplete, insisting that those suspected of masterminding the killings have yet to be brought before the courts. Now from here, and that's from justice to migration policy, the Central African Republic has become the latest African nation to agree to receive third country deportees from the United States under a controversial immigration arrangement. According to reports, the agreement was reached during a recent U.S. delegation visit to Bangui, although details of the number of deportees and implementation timeline remain unclear. The development adds the Central African Republic to a growing list of African countries participating in the program, even as human rights organizations continue to raise concerns over the treatment and rights of the deported migrants. Now, elsewhere, attention is turning to economic cooperation as the Gambia and China seek to strengthen their trade partnership through expanded market access and sustainable development initiatives. During a visit to Tangier Port, Gambian Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow praised China's fully automated zero-carbon port as a model for balancing economic growth with environmental protection. He also welcomed China's new zero-tariff policy for African exports, describing it as a major opportunity for Gambian products, particularly groundnuts, that is, to gain greater access to one of the world's largest markets. And now in East Africa, Rwanda has secured fresh financial support from the International Monetary Fund as the country prepares to navigate an increasingly uncertain global economic climate. The IMF has approved a $250 million extended credit facility spanning 38 months with an immediate disbursement of over $35 million. Despite Rwanda recording stronger than expected economic growth last year, the fund warned that global conflicts and rising energy and fertilizer prices could slow growth and increase inflation, urging authorities to maintain prudent fiscal policies while protecting essential social spending. And finally now, in Kenya, environmental activists have intensified efforts to protect one of the most treasured conservation sites in the country after the arrest of former Chief Justice David Maraga during a protest in Nairobi. Maraga joined campaigners opposing plans that they claim would allow development on land belonging to Nairobi National Park, including the construction of a new car park and expanded animal facilities. The Kenya Wildlife Service has defended the project, insisting it will improve animal welfare and visitor experience, but conservationists argue that any encroachment on the protected land threatens the park's ecological value and sets a dangerous precedent. And that is where we draw the curtain on African News Update this morning, where we had to take you around Africa, including the countries such as Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, DR Congo. But we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll have a discussion session. Do also stay tuned and go nowhere. This is still Razeb Africa of Razeb Media on Global TV. I am Uime Anete. Good morning.
On this show, no topic is swept aside. The heartbeat of Uchiri, the joy I...
We're putting our heads together for food security. I'm back here today discussing carpooling. It's a concept that's not necessarily very rife back here in Africa. However, as Nigeria's urban centers continue to grow, so do the challenges in intercity travel. Cost, efficiency, safety are some of the challenges that are faced, or maybe reasons, things that a lot of people are unsure about. But today we are diving into the new carpooling concept set to give us a solution and launch in